Call the Town of Fuquay-Varina Planning Board to order. Please rise, face the flag, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prior to starting the meeting, we'll go into the COVID procedures. Planning Director M. Davidson will provide those for us.
Thank you. All attendees that have joined the meeting tonight have joined muted. If you wish to speak during the meeting, you will need to notify staff you wish to speak. If you are joining the meeting online and wish to speak, please press the raised hand button. If you are joining the meeting via phone, please press *9 to raise your hand. After you have raised your hand, staff will recognize you to speak by calling out your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number. You will be unmuted at this time and allowed to speak. Once you have finished speaking, you will be muted for the remainder of the meeting. If you wish to speak again, you will need to raise your hand again.
Thank you. Item 2A, approval of minutes from the March 15th, 2021 Planning Board meeting. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approval of the meeting minutes from the March 15th, 2021 Planning Board meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And does anyone have any corrections or changes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I move they be approved as written.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Okay, there are no items tabled from previous meetings. We'll go right into the public hearings. Okay, it's a blanket statement for public hearings. Public hearings are a time for petitioners to present requests and for the public to state their concerns and voice opinions in favor of or in opposition to these requests. Due to COVID-19 state mandate, the public will only have access and input to this meeting using the Zoom social media platform. When you're called on by the moderator, state your name and address for the record, and before speaking in regards to the request. We've already had the information on how to do that. And so we'll go on to the first item is 4A, zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment for WakeMed Property Services, 2400 North Main Street, PIN 0677667648, REZ 2021-02. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of 18.623 acres located at 2400 North Main Street from Residential Agricultural Zoning District, RA, and General Commercial Zoning District, GC, to the General Commercial Conditional Zoning District, GC-CZD, and the corresponding land use map amendment from Mixed Use Neighborhood, MUN, to Suburban Office, SO. Further information will be provided by staff.
Thank you. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The subject property totals 18.623 acres and is located in the town's extraterritorial jurisdiction. The property is the subject of an annexation petition request, ANX 2021-03. There are currently 2 accessory structures on the property. The zoning map amendment petition requests approval of the General Commercial Zoning District. This zoning district is intended to permit a mix of high-intensity, non-residential development of convenience services, retail, office, institutional, regional retail, shopping, employment centers, and service uses. The petitioner has requested the following permitted use conditions be made applicable to the subject property. The following uses shall be prohibited: adult uses, pet service, electronic sweepstakes gaming operation, automotive repair, car wash, towing service and storage, vehicle service station, automotive express service, mixed-use development, live-work unit, banquet hall, cultural adaptive use, congregate living facilities, family care home, group home, vehicle charter services, place of worship temporary, recycling collection station, recycling transfer center, broadcasting station, beach bingo, game room, golf course, brew pub, bulk goods retail, convenience cash business, convenience store kiosk, dry cleaning laundromat, pawn shop, shopping center, specialized repair service, tire sales and service, vehicle parts and accessories retail, automotive paint and body shop, vehicle, boat, equipment, sales and/or rental, special trade contractor, storage facility, wholesale trades, wholesale building supply, yard sale, greenhouse nursery, kennel, commercial boarding and breeding, kennel, private use of domestic animals. The surrounding properties are a mix of cleared agricultural land, single-family residential, commercial, and institutional. Residential properties are located on each side of the property. However, the highest concentration is generally to the south and east of the subject property. Commercial uses are located southwest of the property. Furthermore, 2 churches are located east and southwest of the property. The 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan designates the subject property as the mixed-use neighborhood classification. Since the requested zoning is incompatible with the designation of mixed-use neighborhood, the petitioner has included a land use plan amendment as part of this zoning map petition, which will be described later in this report. Public water and sewer are available to serve the subject property. The subject property has access to North Main Street, US 401. The 2035 Community Transportation Plan classifies North Main Street as a 200-foot right-of-way, and it is identified as being a 6-lane median divided road with a sidewalk and side path, and a carrying capacity of 85,600 average daily trips. It is currently a 4-lane median divided road with a carrying capacity of 36,600 average daily trips. 2019 NCDOT traffic counts taken approximately 1 mile south of the subject property on North Main Street indicate a volume of 28,500 average daily trips. In addition to access to North Main Street, the CTP calls for the future Fuquay-Varina Parkway to bisect the property from east to west. It is classified as a 120-foot right-of-way and identified as being a 4-lane median divided road with side paths. Future development of the site will require dedication of the proposed right-of-way, construction of 2 travel lanes, and the side path. The petitioner held a neighborhood meeting on March 10, 2021, via the Microsoft Teams web application. The meeting report is attached, and staff takes no position as to its content. The 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan calls for the mixed-use neighborhood classification at the subject property. The petitioner has proposed a land use plan amendment from mixed-use neighborhood to suburban office, as it is more compatible with the intended and surrounding uses. Land classified as suburban office is intended to support opportunities to concentrate employment in the town during normal workdays. Suburban office designated property includes both large-scale isolated buildings with numerous employees, as well as areas containing multiple businesses that support and serve one another. They are typically buffered from surrounding development by transitional uses or landscaped areas and are often located in close proximity to major highways or thoroughfares. This amendment supports the Land Use Plan's recommendation of LU3, encourage transitional uses and intensities in and around project boundaries, which is intended to improve visual and spatial compatibility with surrounding uses. Additionally, this amendment supports the Land Use Plan's recommendation, CF1, invest in existing growth areas, which encourages the extension of utilities and growth of development in areas that are already in the growth process to maximize effectiveness. As such, the requested Land Use Plan amendment is consistent with the 2035 Land Use Plan's vision. The Land Use Plan amendment, if approved, would allow for the site to be developed more consistently and appropriately as it relates to the proposed use and surrounding area. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning map amendment with the corresponding Land Use Plan amendment. It is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan and is reasonable and in the public's best interest for the following reasons. 1. Although the requested zoning map amendment is not consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan classification of mixed-use neighborhood, the petitioner has opted to request a change of the land use plan to suburban office, which is more appropriate to the surrounding and proposed uses. 2. The requested zoning map amendment is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan's recommendation, LU3, encourage transitional uses and intensities in and around project boundaries, and CF1, invest in existing growth areas. Conditions 3. Conditions proposed by the petitioner effectively limit future development so that it is compatible with the surrounding areas. I am available to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for staff before we start the hearing? Okay, the public hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment?
Yes, we have one hand raised. Michelle, please unmute your mic.
Yes, good evening. How are you all doing?
Good. Please state your name.
My question is,
Please state your name and address.
my name is Michelle Lukic,
And address for the record, please.
209 Meadow Drive.
Okay, and you are speaking in favor of this?
I would like to know exactly what the plans are for this property. I just purchased not long ago in this neighborhood, and I have big concerns of what may be going in there.
The public hearing is not a question and answer period. We've kind of indicated what, from a staff perspective, of what we know. You certainly can get more information if you want to talk to the staff or to the developer about this, or again, they had the neighborhood meeting as well. I don't know if you were part of that group, but
Unfortunately, I was not.
So again, you know, if you have an opinion in favor of or it was what the area that we're talking about now, but if you wish to speak in opposition, you may also do that. But it's not a question and answer.
Ed, can we ask, we didn't get her last name. Can you repeat your last name,
Could you repeat
please?
the last name? We had some technical difficulties here.
Sure, it's Lukic.
Thank you.
Well, from what I'm hearing and what they're asking, just what was read off and what they're not wanting to go for, and the fact of it being on office, I would have to say that I'm against changing the zoning.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of or in opposition to this request? Anyone in favor of or in opposition to the request?
There are no more hands raised.
Okay, anyone else in favor of or opposition? Please raise your hand if you are, otherwise we will close the hearing.
Yep, we got a hand raised now.
All right.
Phone number ending in 9366. Please unmute your mic.
Hello, this is Judith Baker. I have the property at 4005 Hilltop Needmore Road, and I assume this is all talking about the area adjacent to it. Is that correct?
No.
I believe that's the next rezoning.
That's a different rezoning.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm sorry. We were having some difficulty getting on, so we didn't hear exactly what y'all were talking about. So I'll go off now. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else in favor? Thank you. Anyone else in favor of or in opposition to this rezoning and map land use plan amendment?
There are no hands raised.
All right. The hearing is now closed. Do we have any questions or any concerns from staff? I do have one question. It's just about the future Fuquay-Varina Parkway. Mm-hmm. We've got, right now, is this a hard reserve? In other words, this is this land is actually supposed to be reserved throughout this? Is it just a line that will get, for example, in this case, might get moved or negotiated as part of the development?
Yes. So basically, first one in gets to determine it. So they will come in and determine its location. And then, for example, the property to the southeast, if that was to be developed at a later time, they would have to
connect to it, but also maybe honor, because, you know, if you change the angle or you change the way it comes across a property in order to keep it straight, right? Because these are parkways, these are not just, they shouldn't zigzag. So
the concept generally is that we would like you to stay as close to point A to B as you can. How you go through your property, obviously you need to meet the engineering standards for a road of this classification.
Right, and then the next person to develop theirs has to meet the engineering standards, which may actually require them to, and as this developed, though, would we actually look to the future where, oh, this really right now A and B won't connect, so we do need to actually adjust something in between?
We would definitely work with the engineering department.
Okay.
Same thing, if they come in and they're shifting it more than just slightly, we would definitely look and see how that impacts the adjacent properties.
Right, because you have a whipsaw effect, right? It just, continues down the line.
We have another situation much further south in town that we're working
Yeah.
with the developer right now, in looking at those areas kind of outside their development to see what makes sense.
Yeah, because I think we kind of seen this before, a little farther along the line, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody kind of understood that, or that I understood it, where we were. So thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question. If they rezone this and do the land use plan amendment, it changes this as MUN, it's mixed use neighborhood, those are generally, it's like a big pod. And so like this one cuts that out, and then there's a piece to the southeast, looks like a flag lot that's in the MUN. So does it just remain MUN, and if somebody ever wants to develop, they had to change that land use plan, or do we kind of help them out in a land use plan amendment for them? Because at that point, it doesn't really make sense for that piece to be MUN anymore.
It all depends what happens in the future. So
Gotcha.
if they we're not going to force, probably not change the land use plan. I mean, we are looking at a potentially land use plan update that we could look at areas like that.
Okay.
Obviously, if an amendment is requested by the landowner, that would be one that the town would potentially support if it doesn't make sense, if it's not part of the larger pod anymore.
Yeah, it just seems like it
But
cuts
it's
itself
not
out.
impacted, that property owner is not part of this right now, so.
I'm talking about the cell tower little area right there.
Yeah, the one that's just, it's got the flag that comes off and is basically to the
Just
southeast.
in that southwest corner, that,
So, I mean, that's southeast.
or southwest corner, I'm sorry.
But I mean, like what happens essentially is now that this piece comes out of that land use plan, that one little piece of property is not going to be its own mixed use neighborhood anymore.
Right.
It's all
You're
one
going
big
to have
cluster.
to either consolidate with some of the other ones, or which would require, either way, for this to be used, most likely will require a land use plan.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we, if we do this, that in the future, we support whoever wants to get something else redone. That way we didn't
Right.
hose them, you know what I mean? Because
That would be logical,
we took a
right.
chunk out and basically created an isolated.
And in this situation, basically what they're doing is they're making the northern part of the parcel compliant with sort of the zoning on the southern part that is
Yeah.
what they want right now. So,
Sure. Hey, it makes
yes,
sense.
you're right. It does create these things that, in the future, we will probably be looking at that.
Yeah, I guess it just gets rid of those little satellite pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, especially with something like MUN, where you do need several parcels or large parcels in order to actually make it effective.
And you also just don't know what's going to happen with the LLR, the low-density residential, that yellow parcel right there. I mean, that could, at a future date, be absorbed in also, so.
Yeah, it depends on where Fuquay-Varina Parkway
Time will
gets it.
tell. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Any other questions for staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. We recommend approval of REZ 2021-02 as presented by staff.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll go on to the next hearing, item 4B, zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment, Patrick Riley, Jernigan Commercial Properties LLC, 3995 and 4001 Hilltop Needmore Roads, pin 0688121644, 0688120572, and 0688122812, REZ 2021-03. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of 1.303 acres located at 3995 and 4001 Hilltop Needmore Road from the Residential Agricultural Zoning District, RA, to the Corridor Commercial Conditional Zoning District, CCZD, and the corresponding land use map amendment at 3995 Hilltop Needmore Road, which is pin 0688120572, from rural residential to suburban office. Further information will be provided by staff.
Thank you. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The subject properties total 1.303 acres and are located in the town's extraterritorial jurisdiction. The properties are subject to annexation, and an annexation petition is not being submitted at this time. There is currently a single-family home on one of the properties, PIN 06881222812. A recombination plat at the subject properties was currently approved for PIN 088120572 and 06881211644. But since they are in different jurisdictions, they are mapped separately by Wake County for tax purposes. Once the annexation petition is complete and both lots are within corporate limits, they will be mapped as one lot. The zoning map amendment petition requests approval of the Corridor Commercial Zoning District, CCCZD. This zoning district is intended to accommodate medium-scale intensity non-residential development of a mix of convenience services, retail, office, and limited institutional uses. The petitioner has requested the following permitted use conditions be made applicable to the subject properties. Prohibited uses shall include palm reader, beach bingo, bar nightclub, pawn shop, convenience cash business, recycling collection station, recycling transfer center, automotive express service, automotive repair, car wash auto detailing, service station center, tire sales and services, congregate living facilities, banquet hall, cultural adaptive use, conference center, stadium arena, drive-in movie theater, ambulatory health care, hospital medical center, park and ride, parking deck, transit terminal uses, vehicle charter services, substation electrical, game room, and golf course. Surrounding properties are a mix of single-family residential and commercial. Residential properties are generally to the north, south, and west of the subject properties. To the immediate north is the Brighton Ridge subdivision, currently under construction, and the Food Lion Shopping Center and Crossroads Ford car dealership are to the east and southeast of the properties. The 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan calls for the suburban office and rural residential classifications at the subject properties. The petitioner has included a land use plan amendment for 3995 Hilltop Needmore Road, PIN 06881200572, as part of this zoning map petition, which will be described later in this report. Public water is available to serve the subject properties. Sewer services to the site will be extended by the developer. The subject properties have access to Hilltop Needmore Road. The 2035 Community Transportation Plan classifies Hilltop Needmore Road as a 110-foot right-of-way and is identified as being a 4-lane median divided road with side paths with a carrying capacity of 36,600 average daily trips. 2019 NCDOT traffic counts indicate a volume of 9,600 average daily trips. It is currently a 60-foot right-of-way, 2-lane road with a carrying capacity of 12,800 average daily trips. The petitioner held a neighborhood meeting on March 22, 2021 via the Zoom web application. The meeting report is attached and staff takes no position as to its content. The 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan calls for the rural residential classification at 3995 Hilltop Needmore Road, PIN 06881200572, which is inconsistent with the proposed zoning district. The petitioner has included a land use plan amendment from rural residential to suburban office to allow for land use consistency across the subject properties. Land classified as suburban office is intended to support opportunities to concentrate employment in the town during normal work days. They include both large-scale isolated buildings with numerous employees as well as areas containing multiple businesses that support and serve one another. They are typically buffered from surrounding development by transitional uses or landscaped areas and are often located in close proximity to major highways or thoroughfares. This amendment supports the Land Use Plan's recommendation, LU3, encourage transitional uses and intensities in and around project boundaries, which is intended to improve visual and spatial compatibility with surrounding uses. Additionally, this amendment supports the Land Use Plan's recommendation, CF1, invest in existing growth areas, which encourages the extension of utilities and growth of development in areas that are already in the growth process to maximize effectiveness. As such, the requested Land Use Plan amendment is consistent with the 2035 Land Use Plan's vision. The Land Use Plan amendment, if approved, would allow for the site to be developed more consistently and appropriately as it relates to the proposed use and surrounding area. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning map amendment with the corresponding Land Use Plan amendment. It is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan and is reasonable and in the public's best interest for the following reasons. 1. Although the requested zoning map amendment is not consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan classification of rural residential, the petitioner has opted to request a change of the land use plan to suburban office for 3995 Hilltop Needmore Road, pin 0688120572, which allows for consistency across the subject properties and is more appropriate to the surrounding and proposed uses. 2, the requested zoning map amendment is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan's recommendation, LU3, encourage transitional uses and intensities in and around project boundaries, and CF1, invest in existing growth areas. Number 3, conditions proposed by the petitioner effectively limit future development so it is compatible with the surrounding areas. I am available to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff at this time? Okay, the public hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment? Anyone wish to speak in favor?
Got one hand raised.
Okay.
Patrick Riley, please unmute your mic.
Yes, Patrick Riley, 49 River Ridge Way. Can
Go ahead.
you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. Obviously, speaking in favor of this development, this would actually be our home office for a real estate company, and but also would like some flexibility to lease additional space in the building to either other office uses or some retail that would support the neighborhood. So we have other properties along this corridor. We're excited about the growth of the corridor with the new school, the recently completed Hilltop Needmore Park. And we definitely don't want to do anything that harms the neighborhood. We believe we're following that path of growth that's already been established. And I do thank each one of you for your consideration tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment?
There are no other hands raised.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to this zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition?
We have one hand raised. Phone number ending in 9366. Here we go.
Hello?
Yes, could you please state your name and address?
Hello?
Can you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Judith Baker. Yes, my address is 107 Park Avenue, Fuquay-Varina, but I own the property at 4005 Hilltop Needmore Road, which is next to this proposed development. I have major concerns. My son and my granddaughter, we have been in the process of remodeling this house, and they have moved in, and I have major concerns about the traffic as well as the lights and the noise and a residential area beside, a commercial use right beside of residential dwellings. And there's residential dwellings across the street and down below us. So it's not all just commercial around it.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in opposition to this zoning map amendment or in land use plan amendment? Anyone else in opposition?
There are no other hands raised.
Okay, last chance. Anyone in opposition? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Any questions for staff, or if not, I'd entertain a motion.
I do have a question.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the neighborhood meeting report, and there, on the last page, there was a question about a covenant, which I guess is a residential covenant. I'm assuming that that is not impacting, there are no more covenants.
So we actually checked into that earlier today. All the neighbors signed to release the property from the covenants in August of 2020, so that is not in effect anymore.
Okay.
every neighbor? I mean, like, everybody, even the person that just called in?
From what I understand, it's officially been released.
Huh.
The covenants are not in effect.
Interesting.
Okay. And so we have two parcels. One is Fuquay and one is Wake County. Am I understanding this?
I believe it's ETJ.
Okay, okay.
So they would need to annex in prior to approval of their site plan.
Okay.
The other thing that I kind of note here is that, we have a suburban office in our land use plan. Of course, since it's the ETJ, it still has the RA zoning applied to a lot of this area, right? And I think I think the land use plan is probably what's kind of driving these kind of, and which is the intent, right? Is to have the land use plan drive future development, future changes to the uses of the property. So that's kind of something to note there.
Right. And suburban office makes a nice transition between the shopping center and the residential uses. It's a nice buffer between them.
Right, and they would, because they are a commercial use, they would have to do all the buffers and everything else with residential. And I know we were pretty adamant about making sure there were plenty of good buffers,
Right.
as well as, that's always an option for a neighbor to ask a new neighbor to do something extra for them if they want them to. But that's between them.
And the more intense the use, the bigger the buffer would be between that and the residential uses.
Exactly.
The caller also made a reference to lighting. We do have standards at any commercial building. I think it is 0.5 foot candles, so they need to ensure with their lighting plan that will be submitted with a site plan that they meet those restrictions on any residential property line. So we do have regulations in force that will protect neighbors from lighting.
And seeing as how they have, a grocery store with a big parking lot there and a car dealer with I'm sure that would be a concern. They're probably already seeing the light, if you will. Okay.
Yeah, and it's only 1.3 acres. I don't think it's going to be a...
No, it probably won't be that intensive. But I think the point about the land use plan is it's
softening it up.
Yeah, it's softening up some.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? And again, I would entertain a motion.
I will motion to recommend approval of REZ 2021-03, a zoning map amendment at 3995 and 4001 Hilltop Nemore Road, as well as the corresponding land use map amendment for 3995 Hilltop Nemore Road as presented by staff.
Got a motion, and is there a second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, and that's it for the public hearings. Now we go on to other business. 5A, the administration of the planning board oath of office. Do we have the logistics of this?
We do. We have worked this out.
Okay,
So,
good. Just let us know what they are.
Eva, if she's available, she is going to administer the oath to you guys. We are not going to do a Bible for the sake of social distancing, so everybody could just raise their right hand.
Okay, so we can do it
It can
as
be
a
done
group?
in bulk.
We'll do it
Okay,
together,
that's-
just say our own names.
Yep. So do we have Eva available?
I am available. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Right. Can everybody raise their right hand for me, please? And repeat after me. I state your name.
I
Do solemnly swear
Do
solemnly swear
or affirm
swears good enough.
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States
That I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as member of the Town of Fuquay-Varina Planning Board,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
Office.
as a member of the Town of Fuquay-Varina Planning Board.
Planning Board.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the club.
We get jackets?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anything for us to sign or any other paperwork that needs to be completed for that function?
I do not believe so. James, do you need anything else? I think that's,
Okay, so that was enough?
That's it.
Okay,
it was officially recorded, and we'll get Jim next time.
all right, sounds good. All right, now we go on to preliminary subdivision plat. Andy, can you do all of the, is there one of these that
There's
you?
one of them I cannot do, but it is not this one. It
Okay.
would be
Last one, isn't it?
5C.
5C. Okay, so we're on to 5B. Preliminary subdivision plat, Summerdale 2, sub PR 2019-08. And we'll get to the purpose of, the purpose of this agenda item is to consider preliminary subdivision plat submitted by C. Gregory Bagley, called Summerdale 2, located at 131 Coley Farm Road. Further information provided by staff.
Thank you. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The submitted preliminary subdivision, Summerdale 2, is located at 131 Coley Farm Road on 6.52 acres in the residential medium-density zoning district. The preliminary subdivision plat proposes 38 residential lots, meeting the standards for a conventional townhome development. The minimum provided townhouse lot size is 1,825.26 square feet, and the maximum provided townhouse lot size is 2,331.15 square feet. Following the 15% open space requirement for townhouse developments, a minimum of 0.9 acres of overall open space is required. There are 3.15 acres of overall open space provided. Vehicular access to the project area is provided via a connection to Coley Farm Road. Coley Farm Road is classified by the 2035 Community Transportation Plan as a local street and is currently a 60-foot right-of-way with 2 lanes. Approximately 0.23 miles from the subject property, 2019 NCDOT traffic counts on Coley Farm Road indicate a volume of 1,400 average daily trips. The carrying capacity for Coley Farm Road is 12,400 average daily trips. 1 street stub will be provided to the east of the site. Public water and sewer are available to serve the subject properties and will be installed by the developer. Additional information: townhome developments are permitted use in the RMD zoning district. This property has no zoning conditions pertaining to use or character of the proposed development. The applicant and the current developer have confirmed that the Summerdale 2 townhomes will consist of 3 different home plans with varied elevations. The plans will be constructed using vinyl siding with masonry accents. All townhome units will be 2-story buildings with 2-car garages. The dwelling units will consist of a mix of 24 and 26-foot wide units, and the overall square footage of the homes will range from 1,400 to 2,000 square feet. The proposed preliminary subdivision plat meets all town requirements, and as such, staff recommends approval. I am available to answer any questions.
Any questions on this?
Yeah, I didn't think we were allowing vinyl siding anymore.
So that is potentially a voluntary character trait, but we do not have jurisdiction to regulate facades. This is allowed by right. So it is not a rule. That is often a voluntary zoning condition that is offered by developers.
That's one of the reasons that we have form-based. This is not a form-based, it's a regular open space.
Well, many projects, many subdivisions you guys see were originally RA and had to go through the rezoning process. This
Right.
one did not have to go through the rezoning process. It was already zoned an appropriate zoning district and is not a conditional district.
Right, right. But yeah, so we didn't, we at the zoning level, we weren't able to essentially ask for conditions, because even at the zoning level, they can come forward without,
Yes.
they can do without conditions. They generally do, because staff does a good job of talking them through why it's a good idea. in this case, that opportunity at the zoning level didn't happen because it was zoned previously. And then, of course, because it is that way, then they, by right, they can build it with any suitable material that they wish.
Okay.
Because there's no conditions on the zoning, and they're also not part of, again, like a form base. That's one of the reasons we dangle the form base, you know, in order to get a little bit more leverage, as well as we've done a real good job of using conditional zoning where possible to get these kind of.
The subdivision regulations do not have jurisdiction over the North Carolina, any building subject to the North Carolina Building Code, residential code. So single-family homes, basically, are on their own. So while commercial buildings, we do have permitted and non-permitted building materials, we do not for residential.
Okay.
Pam, do you know if they worked out something with engineering on these streets? Like, it looks like it says it's public right away, but I don't see how any of this meets like Fuquay's requirements. Do you know if they
So
worked something special out, or?
the area with the parking island, that is a private
Yeah, it's just,
parking area. The other two streets, though, do meet our public standard.
it's just weird how they come together at a 90 and then I don't know, it just seems like it's gonna look a little funky.
Engineering has reviewed it, and it meets the town standards.
I understand.
Any other questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Or disapprove. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to recommend approval of the Summerdale 2 preliminary subdivision plat as presented and recommended.
Got a motion? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So that one's approved. Okay, and we'll entertain a motion for recusal of Andy for the next item.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you are recused. Item 5C. Preliminary subdivision plat, the preserves at Holland, sub PR 2020-12. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a preliminary subdivision plat submitted by Curry Engineering called the Preserves at Holland, located at 00804, 806, 808, and 820 Holland Road. Further information will be provided by staff.
Thank you. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The submitted preliminary subdivision, Preserves at Holland, is located at 00804, 806, 808, and 820 Holland Road on 28.28 acres in the residential low-density conditional zoning district, with the following conditions regarding the use of the site. 1, single-family detached homes only. The following conditions are site-specific standards of the subject property. 1, maximum density of 2 dwelling units per acre. 2, minimum 15-foot or 20-foot type B perimeter buffer along the parent property boundary as indicated on the landscape plan. 3, site shall be stage graded. Mass grading will not be permitted. Stage grading is defined by the movement of earth by mechanical means to alter the gross topographic features to include elevation and slope, in preparation for construction of infrastructure and no more than 30 feet from the right-of-way solely for the installation of infrastructure and providing access to a developable lot with the exceptions of additional berms for landscaping, drainage, swales, and borrow pits. Grading completed after the plat is recorded shall be considered individual lot grading and subject to compliance with the Town of Fuquay-Varina's Land Development Ordinance. 4, all roadway drainage pipes shall have decorative head walls. All lots shall have decorative head walls for driveway pipes. Head walls shall be concrete with masonry, veneer, or stone facade. 5, vinyl siding is not permitted. Vinyl windows, decorative elements, and trim is permitted. 6, no unit shall be constructed with an exterior elevation or color palette that is identical to the unit on either side or directly across the street. A varied color palette shall be utilized on homes throughout the subdivision to include a minimum of 3 color families for siding and shall include varied trim, shutter, and accent colors. complementing the siding color. All homes will minimally include 1x4 wrapped windows and doors on all 4 sides throughout the community. 7, no unit on either side or directly across the street shall have the same roof line. 8, all homes shall have a 2-car garage minimum. Garage doors shall contain windows, decorative details, and/or carriage-style adornments. 9, all windows in a side elevation shall have decorative trim, shutters, or shall be a bay window. 10, front porches, when provided, shall be at least 6 feet deep with decorative posts and include a minimum of 24-inch massing at the base constructed of masonry material. All homes shall have a covered entry or front porch. 11, each unit shall have a front door with a minimum of 25% glazing, transom, and/or door side lights. 12, eaves shall project at least 12 inches from the wall of the structure. 13, all homes will be constructed on 40-inch crawl-space foundations minimally. The applicant's vision for the overall quality and preservation of architectural diversity will be upheld by the commitment and usage of 4 architectural design themes: modern farm, transitional, cottage craftsman, and timeless designs. In addition, the applicant will commit to the use of at least 6 of the following design features or building materials on all homes: dormer, hipped roof, primed fiber cement cladding, allowing for diversity in color and appearance, brick veneers, painted brick veneers, stone veneers, metal roofing, architectural shingles, screen porches, 3rd-car garage, side-loaded garage, shutters, stained or painted semi-divided lights in the front doors. 14, the visible side of a home on a corner lot facing the public street or rear facade visible from a public right-of-way shall contain at least 2 decorative elements, such as, but not limited to, the following elements: windows, bay window, recessed window, decorative window trim around the windows, wraparound porch or side porch, enclosed porch, 2 or more building materials, decorative brick or stone, decorative trim, decorative shake, decorative air vents on gable, decorative gable, decorative cornice, column, portico, or balcony. The preliminary subdivision plat proposes 50 residential lots meeting the standards for a conventional subdivision development. The minimum lot size permitted is 14,500 square feet. The minimum provided is 15,018 square feet, with the average lot size of 20,719 square feet. There are 1.22 acres of overall open space provided. Vehicular access to the project area is provided via a connection to Holland Road. Holland Road is classified by the 2035 Community Transportation Plan as a 70-foot right-of-way with 2 lanes, sidewalk, and side path. Holland Road is currently a 60-foot right-of-way with 2 lanes. 2019 NCDOT traffic counts on Holland Road indicate a volume of 3,400 average daily trips. The carrying capacity for Holland Road is 11,800 average daily trips. This development will be responsible for half of the future right-of-way dedication and construction. The addition of 2 stub roads will be provided, one to the west of the site and one to the east of the site. Public water and sewer are available to serve the subject properties and will be installed by the developer. The proposed preliminary subdivision plat meets all town requirements, and as such, staff recommends approval. I am available to answer any questions.
Any questions on this? Well, the one question I do have on this, there's some open space, but this was not an open space development, correct?
It is not.
Okay,
That's just
so they voluntary, otherwise they did not.
It's pretty much the storm fund.
Yeah, because I saw that open space, I said, it does not look like an open space development, but that makes sense. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move we approve SUBPR 2020-12, the preserves at Hollins.
Second.
Okay, and a motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That one's approved. And welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, and since Jim's not here, we don't have to worry about recording for the next one. Okay, item 5D, preliminary subdivision plat, Sippahaw Springs Sub PR 2020-13. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a preliminary subdivision plat submitted by Timmons Group called Sippahaw Springs, located at 1816 Old Bramble Lane. Further information will be provided by staff.
Thank you. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The submitted preliminary subdivision, Sippahaw Springs, is located at 1816 Old Bramble Lane on 9.48 acres in the residential medium-density zoning district. The preliminary subdivision plat proposes 16 residential lots meeting the standards for a conventional subdivision development. The minimum lot size permitted is 10,000 square feet. The minimum provided is 10,040 square feet with the average lot size of 12,756 square feet. There are 3.62 acres of overall open space provided. Vehicular access to the project area is provided via Old Bramble Lane from the adjacent Lakestone Village subdivision. Old Bramble Lane is classified by the 2035 Community Transportation Plan as a local street maintained by the town and therefore does not have available traffic counts. Public water and sewer are available to serve the subject property and will be installed by the developer. The proposed preliminary subdivision plat meets all town requirements, and as such, staff recommends approval. I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions?
So if we have a minimum standard for the size lot, and that doesn't matter how developable the lot is.
It has to be 50%.
Okay. I was looking at lots 3
So
and
in-
4 with all the wetlands.
In an open space, and we did require them to note the acreage on the plan, so they did have to confirm. I'm not sure if it's on this plan, but,
It's on there, it's on the site
It
plan.
is tiny,
probably
31 and
tiny, yeah.
39, yeah.
so in an open space subdivision, no environmental features are allowed in the lots, but in a conventional subdivision, up to 50%.
Okay.
So they have some swampland to sell.
Kind of explains why the stub streets don't continue any further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why there's a lot of open space, and
Yeah.
it's not required.
Always interesting when you see stub streets, and then you see them turn into 2 cul-de-sacs.
Yeah. But there's nothing else you could, I don't know, there's not much else could be been done here, so.
Did they actually need any kind of variance to be able to do 2 cul-de-sacs if they don't have the length of road?
So because they did conventional, they meet the standard. If they had done open space, they would be restricted to a shorter length.
I think the cul-de-sacs make sense.
Right.
There's nowhere to
Yeah.
go.
An open space subdivision limits both the length and the number of cul-de-sacs. Conventional does
Yeah.
not. So.
Right. There's just no place to go here.
There's just nowhere to go.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll recommend approval of Sippahaw Springs preliminary subdivision plat, SUB-PR-2020-13 as presented and recommended by staff.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second? Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, administrative reports. Planning staff report, that was exciting. Thank you. And good work on getting that through to the Board of Commissioners. Hopefully we helped maybe a little. You don't have to give me an opinion on that, but
I think it was all an important part of the process.
it is, and it was. I think the board in general appreciates the efforts of staff to make it worthwhile and make our input valuable to the Board of Commissioners as well as the staff. So, thank you. But that is just received as information, so there's nothing to accept there. Any other questions about it? If not, we will go on to the last item, which is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion? Do I hear a
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.